somebody had just wrapped the hell out of this line with Teflon tape. Holy shit. Yeah, I think that bearing's been worn for a while.
What did you put that on last time?
What's going on, party people? It's Yeti from Yeti Machine Co. I got some stuff to work on. I'm gonna film and I wanna show y'all. So what we have is my boy Robert's Dyna here. Now this thing, he got a really good deal on it a while back, and it sat for a long time, so we've been going through some issues with it. And with this trip to Texas coming up, need to get it dialed. So the big thing on this thing is that it is leaking like a son of a bitch. Now I've already done some digging on it. Pretty sure I figured the leak out. There is a seal back behind this timer that looks to be leaking. And then I don't know if you can see, but one of these two hoses going into this oil filter adapter is pretty well loose. So I'm gonna pop the exhaust off right now and dig a little bit deeper. All right, so we've got that line off. As you can see, it's actually just a smooth line. The way this thing works is you have this little fitting, squeezes down on a compression sleeve, and as you can see, that compression sleeve is pretty roached. It looks like it's been roached for a while. Someone possibly wrapped it in Teflon tape, I guess. I'm not sure. So yeah, that's definitely gonna cause a leak because we've got pressure. You can't really see it, but pressure comes out of the pump, goes up into that pump housing, and then returns and feeds back into the top of the case. But that's one big leak. And the next one is probably gonna be behind that timing cup. So let's see. That wasn't even a ferrule. Somebody had just wrapped the hell out of this line with Teflon tape. There's actually a special seal that goes up in there. So need to grab a couple of those. I'm gonna end up just resealing the whole system. I'm gonna pop this guy off. And probably just redo the soft lines too, because they're old, and just make sure we have plenty of hours and years of non-leaking, or at least from this point, non-leaking riding to go. So I went ahead and popped the oil filter housing out. As you can see, there's all kinds of Teflon tape and silicone and God knows what else people have stuffed in there. So obviously this has been a problem on this bike for a while. And after digging into that, I also noticed, so this is that other line. It's hard to see, but that one's loose too. It can probably damn near slide out. So that's another fitting on the oil pump that I gotta fix. So yeah, I've gotta pop this whole brace off, this brake linkage, and keep digging. So good times. So I got one out. I'll show you this one. Yeah. So these have obviously been an issue for a while. As you can see, somebody's gone in there and just gave it the old plumber treatment. So we're gonna get probably 3 or 4 of these and replace them all. But yeah, I understand roadside fixes and whatnot, but if you're gonna do stuff like this. All right, so got the whole oiling system back together. New seals in there. I actually ended up putting new lines with crimp-on clamps. I don't really like the screw clamps for stuff that's supposed to be more permanent. So I ran the bike. As you can see, there's no oil. She's not leaking, which makes me happy. So next thing I'm gonna be working on, it's gotta take off this belt primary drive. Oh, something I didn't film. Went ahead and put in new front, and you can't see it, new rear motor mount. I didn't film it because number one, you know, it's kind of boring just changing motor mounts. But those are swapped, so we got the oil leak fixed, new motor mount. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're actually gonna convert this bike over to a chain drive, and we are going to rebuild the swing arm. The motor mounts were shot pretty bad. I've seen them a lot worse than this, but these were definitely wobbling around. The engine is a lot more solid in there. Oh, also, something you saw in the last video was the sissy bar I made for my my Kernville trip. I made a little 6-pack rack and spray painted it black. By the time this video comes out, I may have actually gone on that ride. But yeah, I like the way it came out. It's not perfect. I know some people don't like the tall sissy bars on the newer bikes. I really don't give a shit, but the whole point was for camping. So I can stack a pretty big bag and a pretty big tent right there. We're also doing Born Free Texas in the next couple weeks. And that is 1,500 miles from my doorstep to the venue and 1,500 miles back. And I plan on living off the back of my bike. So anyways, let's get into what we're doing on the Dyna. I don't know if you can see me. Pop the clutch off, and then we're gonna get to the big nuts behind me. I am not good at filming myself. Anyways, I had to put the brake back together for a second. That's my handy dandy brake lock. Put the bike in gear. That way I can actually break this guy loose without clutch plates.
Oh, son of a bitch. What idiot put that on last time?
Alright, so clutch hub is off, crank pulley's off. Another thing I'm going to fix is we do have a little bit of leak from the crankshaft seal, so I'm going to take care of that. And then obviously I know the transmission seal is leaking. So now when taking that inner primary off, you have to make sure that you take the starter off, and to get in there you're going to need an extension. So make sure you get the longest one. You know, that way if you accidentally spark the bike while you're turning it, you're far away and you don't get burned or zapped. All right, so now that I know the starter's out, I can start working on these here inner primary bolts. So sometimes gotta get a little crafty. I don't really want to pry on this thing, so I put a bolt in here, and I'm gonna use my my trusty slide hammer. I've double checked, obviously there's no hardware holding it in, so oh, hey, easy money. All right. There we go. All righty. That is grinding. So, as we can see, she's a little bit greasy. This is also all wet down here. It actually chewed up the teeth on the crank, which really sucks. But anyways, here's something interesting. Now you guys can see that pulley's moving a lot, which, holy shit. That is, what in the fuck is going on there? Oh boy. All right, well, it's gonna be easy to get this off. That's kind of insane, actually. No wonder he was having some weird issues. What was going on with this thing is the belt kept going loose and tight. It was really strange. Like sometimes, yeah, like right now the belt is loose as shit, and I haven't loosened up the wheel or anything. There's the plate. Oh my god. Oh my god. That is not supposed to be hand tight. Holy hell, man. Well, I guess it's a good thing that the lock was on there. That's nuts. I don't understand why that would be like that, but wow. Okay. Well, that's pretty wild. So let's pull that pulley off. Do that with one hand. Hoo-hoo-hoo! Yeah, she's got a little bit of a leak there. Sweet. Well, I've got seals for everything, so damn. So there's 3 seals in your transmission. This is your output shaft seal. This is the seal in between your input and out shaft seal. And this is the quad ring that goes on the spacer behind the sprocket. So we're gonna replace these 3. Also, I was able to get that son of a bitch off. That was fun. But this is all kinds of crusty in here. And as you can see, I mean, the seal is just dry rotted and falling apart. So we're gonna go ahead and replace that seal as well, and keep it moving. All right, so we got our new pinion seal installed. I had to clean up this this seal surface a little bit. I'm gonna go at these a little bit with a file. Next thing we're gonna do is got a new compensator. The teeth are all nice on it, so got our shim. Just pop our shim on, and yeah, I'm not gonna do that with one hand because I'll smash the shit out of my fingers. So now our new rotor is on there. Wire wheeled the threads on the crank. As you can see, somebody has beaten the shit out of the nose of this crank, but that's not something that we can actually fix. That would require full breakdown of the engine, and he wasn't really having any problems that I could tell with it running out. Pretty sure this is just kind of mushroomed over, as you can see from some jackass pounding on it with a hammer. So that's done. We're just gonna be bolting the main pulley on. It does have some slop, which sucks, but we'll throw some Loctite on the splines of this one as well, just to get it locked on there. I know some people are gonna say to use green, but I wanna be able to take this off someday. So we'll clean that up a little bit before we throw that back on there. But the next thing we're gonna do is move on to the seals in the transmission. Now this thing was leaking inside here. So clean this up, clean that up. So we're gonna have a new seal here. There's a quad ring that goes back here, and then a big seal that goes over it. And then we will move on to installing the drive sprocket, the inner primary, to clean it up a little bit, and should be buttoning this side up. So one thing I almost forgot is this this spacer here. If you look, you can kind of see it. There's a little bit of an edge to it. So I'm pretty sure this thing was walking around, because if you remember from earlier in the video, the clutch hub nut was loose on this thing. So I think this thing was kind of spinning up against the inner race of that bearing. I do want to make sure that I knock this burr off, so that's what I'm going to do first. So this thing ended up having burrs on this edge, the inside edge, the outside. So went at it with a file and some emery cloth, knocked all the rough spots out. Basically, if you can feel it with your thumb, you don't want that, you know, burrs and seals don't mix well. So, but yeah, we're gonna slap this back in, and then we will put in our main seal, add a little grease on the end, and that'll be good to go. All right, so sprocket's on. You want to torque this nut. This is actually a reverse thread. So this nut gets torqued to 50 pounds, and then this is your locking ring. I just ran these holding with the impact. Obviously don't beat on them. They're just little 1/4 screws. The way that I was able to hold these, I don't know if this is right or wrong, but you just get yourself an extension, stick it in there, and then you can hold it. 50 pounds isn't very much. But that's all that requires. They're very fine threads, so you don't want to wail on them. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to clean up my lift a little bit. The next operation on this thing is going to be doing the swing arm bushings. So it's a lot easier to get to. In fact, I can't even get to this big swing arm bolt while the inner primary is in. So wanted to get that on. That's good. So I'm going to clean all this stuff up real quick. Put a jack underneath it, and we got to disconnect the shocks, the brakes, and then we're gonna take the wheel and all that shit off too, because it actually needs a new tire. And we're gonna rebuild this swing arm. And then after that, put all this shit together, and the majority of the work will be done. I still got to do new seals on the front end, but that shouldn't be too big of a deal. Even if I don't get to it, it's not the end of the world. It's totally rideable with a little bit of a leak, but obviously not the best. So my phone was about to die, so I just kept working. So got the rear tire off, nothing really crazy there. Just kind of getting ready to pull the swing arm off. But once I saw this, I figured I should show you guys, because damn. So I took this nut off. It was actually just like hand tight. There was a cotter pin in it, but it was barely holding together. But check this out. Let's see if I can capture it. I mean, this thing just wobbling around in there. So yeah, that'll cause some problems. And this gives you a better shot. If you look, the Dyna swing arms are not attached to the frame. No. The only thing holding these bikes in line is the motor mounts, which bolt onto the back of the frame there. Oops. And that's the new one that I just put in. So, yeah, this thing probably needed this for a while. So I'm gonna get the swing arm off and then blow it apart and keep going. So I went ahead and got the swing arm apart, and yeah, I think that bearing's been worn for a while. The races inside the swing arm are trashed. This little DU bushing that goes on the other side of the swing arm was trashed. This kit from V-Twin comes with everything you need. So we got new bearings, new seal blocks, new O-rings, new insert for the DU bushing, the bushing in the cap, which was missing. This guy was put on the wrong side. That's why it was missing. So all kinds of McFuckery going on here. And basically, I just gotta pound these stupid races out and clean everything up and put it back together. Because, you know, this thing had pretty gnarly wobble and shit kept moving around. So, yeah. Anyways, party on, Wayne. Well, we might have missed a few steps here, but swing arm, hold that guy out, and was able to get the old bearings out, get the new bearings pressed in, got the new DU bushing pressed in. The old bearings were pretty hammered, so yeah, that was not doing him any favors. But yep, we got the races pressed in, so we just got to grease everything up and slap her back together. Well, looks like we ran into another problem. Originally, when I took this thing apart, I thought that they had the swing arm bolt backwards, and they did, according to the factory specs. But it looks like the reason being is because that shaft, when facing the stock way, which is coming from the right side of the bike this way, makes contact with the inner primary. A little bit too tight. So I'm gonna have to use a mixture of some of the old parts and some of the new parts. Not a big deal. Glad I caught it before I got everything torqued down. But yeah, I'm assuming that if you're using some kind of BDL belt drive on one of these Dynas, that part of that kit is turning that bolt around. So yeah, just got to keep on trucking. So we've got our swing arm bolt in the way that's going to work for this belt drive, and had to kind of fabricate a little spacer to go in there, but everything lines up good. So the next thing I'm going to do is I got to pull this plate back off and clean it because it's disgusting. But as far as the swing arm rebuild goes, it's all good. It's free moving. So really stoked I was able to figure that out. We're coming down to the wire. It is Thursday, and this bike is riding 1,500 miles to Born Free, Texas on Monday. So good times. Anyways, I'm gonna keep on wrenching. So we've got that inner primary back on, got it all cleaned up, got everything torqued down and Loctited. Went ahead and cut the chain, threw the chain on, threw the new sprocket on for the chain drive kit. So we'll get the rest of the pulley system put on, and then we will be done as far as this stuff goes. Now, this thing's got to come off the lift because I have to do the front end, and also it's getting a pair of new tires. So that'll be tomorrow, but it's late. I need to get home. I'm tired. I am on like hour 14 of working today. So time to go home, get some sleep, and come back and crack at it tomorrow afternoon.